What makes you trust a hero? And what keeps you safe when the lights go dark? Stay with this story, and you will learn a quick way to guard your heart and your attention. The city is called Riverton, and tonight the rain hits like thrown nails. Sirens chew the air, and a school bus sits half underwater near the river bend. A man in a high vest clips a rope to a shaking boy and holds up a clean smile. A small drone hums above like a curious fly that never blinks.
Is the strap tight?
The rope jerks once, and the crowd breathes in as if one lung. A phone yells that it is live, and the comments bloom like weeds. Freeze that picture in your mind for a second. Now step back a few hours when the roads were still holding and hope was cheap. The man in the vest is known as Atlas because he looks like he could lift a street. He is fast, handsome, and always there first, which is strange in a city this slow. Someone posts a clip of him pulling a stroller from a puddle that looks like a lake.
He is the light we need.
The clip hits 1 million in a night, and the donations show up like pizza at a party. People share and say, "Look at him, look at hope," with a jawline and a vest. A young filmmaker named Maya stares at the same clip and rubs her eyes.
Why is the camera already in the right spot?
An older paramedic named Owen sips old coffee and watches the news in silence.
He is always early and the call is always late, which is funny if you drive an ambulance.
The city keeps clapping because clapping is cheap and it feels like doing something. Atlas keeps saving because saving on camera pays the rent of his soul. He grew up feeling like air, so the noise around his name feels like blood. You and I know that feeling because we have both wanted to be seen. On the second night, the river swells and the lights falter on the east side. Atlas posts a teaser from a bridge where the water rips past like dark rope.
He is on scene before the storm, and that is leadership.
A small team in black jackets sets cones and points phones at the right angles. Maya stands at the edge with a camera that costs less than her rent.
I am here for truth, and maybe a check if truth still pays.
She sees a crying woman near the cones and remembers her face from last week. The woman wears a new hoodie but the same tear on the same cheek. Maya files that detail in the drawer of her mind labeled, "Do not ignore this." Owen rolls by with his crew and keeps his face still as stone.
Clear the lane if you want to live long enough to post about it.
The drone dips low and the vest glows bright as a street sign in a fog. Atlas lifts a man from a car that sits too clean for a flood. The man coughs on cue and reaches for the camera as if he wants to thank the lens.
We are good. Keep the line tight and show the logo on the vest.
That sentence might sound like safety talk, and it is almost that. But it also sounds like a stage note that forgot it was not in a theater. The clip drops, and the numbers climb, and the city sleeps a little easier. The next morning, the warehouse on Dock Street opens its door to volunteers. Inside, the blankets look used but smell like soap and new plastic.
Why do old blankets have price tags?
A man in a cap laughs and says, "Keep the texture for the photos."
We have to move fast because people care for only a minute.
That line is true and also a trap. If care is short, we push it with bright frames and quick cuts, and then we call it rescue. Maya pulls old city cams and lines up timestamps like coins on a table. A call about a trapped car arrives at 9, but the clip shows Atlas on scene at 8:50. She sits back and lets the math stand in the room.
If the story starts before the pain, who wrote the story?
She asks around and someone whispers that a few extras get small cash for safe drills.
It is safer to practice with people who know how to move and where to stand.
That logic is neat, but the water is not neat and the fear on the faces looks real. Tonight is the bus, and the parents line the rail while the phones glow pale. Atlas checks the harness, and the drone locks focus on the boy.
I do not want to fall.
You will not fall because I am here and the city is watching.
The rope slips from a wet hand, and every heart stops on time. Owen lunges and anchors the line with a grunt that no mic catches.
Pull now or drop the talk.
The drone hangs, and the boy rises, and the cheer hits like a wave on glass. The clip is perfect, but too perfect, like a smile you hold too long. Maya drags the raw file into her timeline and slows the moment before the slip. A hand from off frame touches the line and then hides.
Who gave the cue?
She wants to be wrong because she also wants to believe in clean heroes. She calls Owen and asks for radio logs because paper does not perform.
You did not hear this from me, but the calls are late and the posts are early.
Her stomach drops like a stone in deep water, and truth rises like a bubble. She meets a young volunteer behind the supermarket and keeps her voice soft.
Did he tell you where to stand and when to cry?
We had lines, so people would donate, and he paid for gas, and he said it saves time.
The storm grows and the story turns, and now the stakes do not fit in a frame. Maya edits all night and writes captions that use small words and calm verbs. She checks the facts twice and then twice again because the knife is sharp. At noon the next day, her film drops into the feed like a stone into a quiet pond. The ripples race through offices, kitchens, and bus stops with no shelter. The city swings like a door on weak hinges from praise to rage. Hashtags flip, as if hope runs on a timer that someone kicks every hour.
He lied and he used us, and he made a show of our hurt.
The sponsors go silent, because silence is the safest brand. Atlas steps onto a small stage in the community hall with eyes that know the script.
I did what I had to do because drama makes people care, and I wanted you to care.
Some heads nod because that sentence is honest and also selfish. A kid from the bus holds his mother and stares at the floor as if it will answer back. The hall buzzes like a hive, and the cameras drink every twitch. Right then, a wall of water breaks a levee 2 miles away, and no one is ready. Power drops in the hall, and the screens die, and the drones blink out like tired moths. Owen hears the call and moves before he knows he has moved.
We have no juice and no clean path, so we use our legs and hope.
Atlas freezes for half a breath because the scene has no marks and no cues. He looks at his hands, and then at the door, and then at the river on the edge of town.
I am going.
He runs with Owen into brown water that does not care about arc or angle. The couple in the small house at the bend is shouting from a second floor.
We are up here, and the stairs are gone.
No one is live and no one is counting down, and the room smells like wet wood and fear. Atlas takes a real breath that sounds like someone who has not been on a stage.
Tie the line around the bedpost and hold your weight on the frame.
Owen nods and the old post moans but holds, because old wood can surprise you.
One at a time, and no speeches.
They move the woman first and then the man, and both step down to the boat with shaking knees. The boat scrapes a door, and the paint comes off in a long curl like a peel of fruit. The sky is dark as a closed eye, and the river slaps the walls like a hand. Atlas does not look for a lens because there is none to feed. He looks at the people and counts, and he looks at Owen and nods, and they go again. The line holds and the boat floats, and the house sits back like a tired man in a chair. By dawn, the rain thins and the water steps back as if sorry for the mess. Police meet Atlas at the dock with a warrant and a tight face.
Come with us and keep your mouth closed if you want a better day later.
He does not run because running would be another scene, and the day has had enough scenes.
I saved them with no camera, but I also lied before, and both things are true.
That is the part that makes people itch, because simple stories are easier to hold. Maya walks home past the river and feels the old ache of a clean ending she cannot have.
I wanted a villain I could throw away and a hero I could keep.
She sits at her desk and opens a new file and writes one line for the last frame.
If we build our heroes from sand, we should not curse the tide when it does its job.
She trims her film and removes her own voice because the facts can stand alone. The city scrolls again, and the noise finds a new toy by Friday. The bus dries out, and the rope burns fade, and the vest hangs in a locker that smells like metal. Some nights, a stranger leaves 2 cups of tea at the old couple's door and walks away.
We know who left the tea, and we will not say the name.
The kid from the bus keeps a small coin on a ribbon around his neck.
I do not like cameras anymore, but I like the river on quiet days.
You may want clear math here, like 1 lie minus 1 rescue equals 0, but life hates clean math. You may want a rule that says never trust or always trust, but rules like that break first in the rain. The better lesson is smaller and stronger if you let it be. Ask 3 quick questions when a new hero appears in your feed. Who is counting the story? What do they gain from my gaze? And where is the proof that does not need a spotlight? If the answers smell like fresh paint, wait a day, because real good can handle a pause. If the answers hold, even after the likes cool off, lean in and help for real. Your attention is currency, and you should spend it like it matters. Your empathy is power, and you should aim it with care. Atlas is a man, not a myth, and men can fake and fail and still do one honest thing. That one honest thing does not wash away the harm, but it can save 2 lives in a room with bad light. Maya is a woman with a camera and rent due, and a small code in her chest that will not bend. Owen is a man who does the job and hates the show, and that is also a kind of hero. Riverton is a place where water comes and goes, and people forget and remember in cycles. Tonight, the tide pulled down a statue and left a warning in the wet sand. Do not worship the silhouette, because the sun moves, and so do we. Do not trade your sight for a costume just because it fits your hope. Do not ask storms to fix the cracks that steady work should fix before the clouds. Build better levees outside and inside, and check them on a clear day. That is the quiet hero work, and it does not need a drone. Now I want to rewind a few beats and give you small reveals you might have missed. The crying woman in 2 rescues works shifts at the warehouse next to the cones. She did not think she was part of a lie. She thought she was helping the city feel.
I wanted to help, and I wanted to be seen because both feel warm when life is cold.
The blankets that looked old were props bought cheap by a man who sells stories by the pound. He told himself it was harmless because a good image pulls good money. A good image can pull good money, but it also pulls trust out by the roots if it is a fake. The donors clicked with kind hearts because most people want to help and want it now. It is not wrong to want fast help, but speed can make fools of us if we do not ask for proof. Proof is not a mood or a lens or a caption with a song. Proof is boring logs and steady hands. Maya liked applause too, but she likes sleep more, and sleep needs truth.
I sleep when my cuts are clean, and my notes are dull, and my dates match.
Owen never watched the clips because he had rinsed blood off boots for longer than the app existed.
I do not need to see a show to know if a rope is tight.
The boy on the bus learned that fear and plan can hold the same space.
I was scared, but I listened, and the plan made a small room in my head where I could breathe.
The couple in the house learned that help can arrive without a slogan.
Quiet help is still help, and sometimes it is better.
Atlas learned that a camera is a hungry pet, and you must not feed it the truth.
I thought clicks were oxygen, and then I tried to breathe without them, and I did not die.
He will face court and he will face the mirror, and both will take their time. He will work where no one knows his name if he is smart and if he is lucky. That might be the only way a man like him learns to be useful without a lens. I know you want a final snap where he pays and the world claps, but life is slower than that. What you can take now is a way to aim your care. When you see a rescue with perfect light, ask who brought the light. When you see a miracle with clean hands, ask who washed them. When you see a hero with a highlight reel, ask to see the work with no music. The city does not need idols as much as it needs drains that do not clog. The people do not need statues as much as they need neighbors who do not perform kindness. You do not need a savior to rent your mind when you already own your common sense. Be slow with praise and fast with questions and gentle with people who do quiet work. Be careful with rage, because rage also loves a stage and a crowd. If you spend your attention like cash, the market will change. If you do not, the market will spend you instead. This story began with a rope over dark water and a handoff frame. It ends with a small rule you can carry in your pocket. Trust slowly, verify kindly, and help where a lens is useless. That is how you keep your power when the lights go dark. I want to give you a few more small beats because you stayed with me this long. The crying woman now hands out real blankets at the shelter, and they smell like bleach and sleep.
I am done with shows, and I like folding more than clapping.
Maya screens her film in a library room that looks like a classroom, and the chairs squeak.
If this film makes you angry, take that to the levee this weekend and bring a shovel.
People laugh because the line is dry, and then 2 people sign up for a work list. Owen fixes a box of old radios and writes the codes on a card with a thick pen.
We will not be early next time, but we will be ready.
The boy from the bus joins a swim class at the Y and learns how to float.
Floating is a plan for when the world goes heavy.
The couple sits on their porch when the sun returns, and they look at the river without hate.
Water follows its path, and we will follow ours.
Atlas writes a letter he does not send because the point is not the reply.
I am learning how to be useful without an audience, and it is slow, and that is fine.
The city keeps moving forward because cities always do, even when they limp. And you keep this story in a small place where you store tools for hard days. You take it out when the next bright vest shows up with tidy tears and a drone. You remember that sand makes pretty shapes, and then remembers it is sand. You build your levees again, and this time you check them under a blue sky. That is the moral, and it is simple enough to use by tomorrow. Spend your attention with care, because attention shapes power. Spend your empathy with aim, because empathy shapes lives. Do the quiet work, because quiet work shapes the ground under all of us. Thank you for staying with me to the end of this story. If this spoke to you, please tap like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. If you want to support this channel, you can donate through the QR code on the lower right or through the link in the description. In the description, you will also find links to other works from a very different series. I hope you will check those out and tell me which one surprised you. See you in the next story, and bring a friend who likes a sharp lesson with a soft voice.